the viewfinder. You're going to need a piece of cardboard, at least 8 by 6 inches. Your final object is going to be 7.5 by 6. So you need at least 8 by 6. You need a pencil and a ruler. I could only find my yardstick, so you also need some scissors. And if you don't have really sharp points on your scissors, get permission, adult supervision, use a sharp tip knife. Okay, so I'm going to set my camera up and walk you through how to make your viewfinder. Okay, so get your cardboard out of the trash, or find a cereal box. Just use the cardboard. You can keep the cereal in its plastic bag in the cabinet. When you undo the seam, make sure that you're careful not to wrinkle up your cardboard. It's important that our viewfinder is nice and sturdy and flat when we're done with it. So, just like we've measured things in the past, start with your ruler at the edge of your paper. Find a seam. Now, your cardboard's probably going to be much bigger than this. I would cut it down so you have something nice to turn and work with on a tabletop with your ruler. So the first measurement we need to measure is 1 inch from the edge, because we need a 1-inch border. And then the inside of our viewfinder is going to be 4 by 5.5. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can measure 1 inch over here. So now we have our 1-inch border, the inside of our viewfinder, and then our other 1-inch border. So then move your paper up or your ruler down. Line it up with the edge. Keep it parallel with your seams. 1 inch from the edge, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another inch for our border. So then you're going to turn your ruler vertical, leave your paper where it is, and you're going to connect your lines. There we go. And we can obviously see that mark, so I'm not even going to draw it. Now we need to turn our paper horizontal. Well, for your video, it's vertical. Okay, so then we need to measure our 1-inch border. So 1, and now the inside of this measurement is 5.5. So we count from our edge, from the mark we just made, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. And then add 1 inch. So from this mark, there's a half and then a whole. So your mark should be at 1 inch, 6.5, and 7.5. Pull your ruler down. Line it up with the edge of your paper. Same marks. 1, 6.5, 7.5. And now we turn our ruler vertical. This line should be all the way across because it's the outside. We're going to cut that. So now this is where our picture plane will be. Okay, here's our finished product. So this is going to get cut out. This is our frame. We need to erase these marks that are inside of our frame. And now we're going to cut. So cut the outermost frame out. And then this next part is where you use the knife. So when you poke your hole, your fingers are going to be back here, so be careful. Spread your fingers out and put the knife point at the corner and poke your hole. Make sure your fingers are not in the way. That's all we're going to need the knife for. And then insert your scissors and cut this line out. When you get to the corners, we're going to cut our straight line and stop. We are not going to pivot in this corner. We're going to trim the corner like that, and then we'll come back and trim that back when we're done. So continue cutting just like we did our first line. The reason we don't cut the corners and pivot like that is so that we're not bending the paper. It keeps it nice and flat. Try to get your cuts all the way to the lines. Get rid of that. So now we can come back in here and trim up these areas so that the corners are nice and sharp. All right. Now we have our viewfinder. We are ready to frame the world out in front of us.